First contact with ancient conflict. The experimental deep space vessel Aurora drifted silently through the void, its revolutionary quantum drive humming with energy as it pushed the boundaries of human exploration. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars that beckoned humanity forward. The Aurora represented Earth's most advanced technology, a testament to human ingenuity and determination to reach beyond their solar system. Quantum drive stable at 99.4%, Captain, reported Commander Jackson Chen, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. We've exceeded projected distance by 17 light years. Elena nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. That puts us farther from home than any human has ever been. The bridge crew, 12 of Earth's finest, exchanged proud glances. The Aurora's maiden voyage was already a historic success, carrying humanity's flag deeper into the cosmos than ever before. Captain, called Lieutenant Sarah Okafor from the sensor station, her voice suddenly tense. I'm detecting unusual energy readings ahead. Massive energy fluctuations, like nothing in our database. Elena moved to the sensor display, her brow furrowing. Origin? Unknown, but... Sarah's words died in her throat as the main view screen automatically adjusted to show what lay ahead. The emptiness of space had transformed into a chaotic battlefield. Thousands of vessels, some larger than Earth's largest cities, exchanged brilliant beams of energy that sliced through the darkness. Explosions blossomed silently in the vacuum, brief stars of destruction that marked the deaths of ships and their crews. My God, whispered Dr. Marcus Way, the ship's xenobiologist. It's a war. Elena stared at the impossible scene before them. Evasive maneuvers, pull us back, maximum safe distance while maintaining visual. The Aurora retreated to the edge of the conflict zone, but remained close enough to observe through their advanced sensors. For hours, the crew watched in stunned silence as the battle raged with mechanical precision, neither side gaining a clear advantage. Their tactics are repetitive, noted Lieutenant Commander Daunt Williams, the tactical officer. It's like watching two chess players who know each other's moves before they make them. Dr. Way had been analyzing the data streaming in from their sensors. Captain, I believe we're witnessing something extraordinary. The biological signatures from both fleets are ancient, evolved far beyond anything we theorized. And the technology, it's centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. Can we intercept any communications? Elena asked. Communications specialist Miguel Rodriguez nodded. Yes, Captain. Our quantum processors are deciphering their transmissions now. It's incredible. According to what we're translating, these two species, they call themselves the Krith and the Solari, have been at war for over 800,000 years. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. That's impossible, Chen finally said. No civilization could sustain conflict for that long. And yet the evidence suggests they have, Dr. Way replied. Their entire cultures have evolved around this conflict, generation after generation, born, living, and dying with no memory of peace. Elena studied the tactical display, watching as the two fleets moved in complex, but somehow predictable patterns. Why? What could possibly drive such prolonged hostility? Rodriguez continued translating the intercepted communications. It appears to be a conflict over a shared evolutionary origin. Both species claim to be the true inheritors of their ancient progenitor race. The Krith believe the Solari are an aberration, while the Solari see the Krith as genetic defectives. 800,000 years of war over which branch of evolution is correct. Chen shook his head in disbelief. Williams zoomed in on a section of the battle. Look at this, Captain. Both sides use nearly identical tactical formations. It's as if they've reached a perfect stalemate. Neither can gain an advantage because neither can think outside their shared tactical framework. Elena watched thoughtfully. Humanity, for all its flaws, had evolved through diversity of thought, through challenging established patterns, through innovation born of necessity. These ancient civilizations, for all their power and advanced technology, appeared trapped in a loop of their own making. "What happens if we just leave?" asked Lieutenant Okafor. "It's not our fight." Elena didn't answer immediately. She was watching a small Solari vessel, still larger than the Aurora, attempt the same flanking maneuver that had failed countless times before. The Krith countered with a predictable defense, and more lives were lost in a pattern that had repeated for millennia. "How many worlds have they destroyed?" she finally asked. "How many civilizations caught in their crossfire? How many trillions have died in a war that neither side can win?" The crew looked at their captain, sensing the weight of her decision. "Captain," Dr. Wei said quietly, "we're a single ship, 12 humans, far from home. These civilizations possess technology that could obliterate us with a single shot." Helena nodded. "True. And yet we have something they don't seem to possess." She turned to face her crew. "Perspective. A different way of thinking." The decision crystallized in her mind. Humanity had always been defined by its ability to do the unexpected, to think differently, to find solutions where others saw only problems. If they could help end this conflict, they would be saving countless lives and potentially gaining powerful allies. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, open a channel to both fleet commanders," Elena ordered. "We're going to introduce ourselves." "Captain," Chen cautioned, "the prime directive doesn't exist outside of fiction, Commander." Elena cut him off with a small smile. "We have no directive prohibiting first contact or intervention. We have only our conscience and judgment." Rodriguez worked his console. "Channel open, Captain." Elena straightened her uniform and addressed the void. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth vessel Aurora. We are travelers from a distant star system who have encountered your conflict by chance. We request communication with the leaders of both the Krith and Solari fleets to discuss possible paths to resolution." For several minutes, there was no response. Then the communications array lit up with incoming signals. "They're responding," Rodriguez reported, surprise evident in his voice. "Both fleet commanders are demanding to know how we dare interfere in their sacred conflict." Elena sat down in the captain's chair, her expression determined. "Tell them that sometimes it takes an outsider to see what those within cannot, and make it clear, we're not leaving until they at least hear what we have to say." The initial diplomatic discussions were tense. Both the Krith and Solari dismissed the humans as primitives, insignificant beings who could not possibly understand the complexity and importance of their ancient struggle. The Aurora was repeatedly ordered to leave or face destruction. "They're not listening," Chen observed after hours of attempted dialogue. Elena studied the tactical display, where the battle had momentarily paused while both sides assessed the unexpected arrival of the human vessel. "Then we'll have to show them instead of telling them." She turned to Williams. "Lieutenant Commander, based on your analysis of their battle patterns, can you identify a move that neither side would anticipate? Something outside their tactical framework?" Williams considered for a moment. "Yes, Captain. Their strategies are built on symmetrical thinking. Neither side ever sacrifices a strategic position for a tactical advantage. It's as if they're playing by agreed-upon rules that have calcified over time." "Good. Program a drone with that unexpected maneuver. Let's give them a demonstration." Within minutes, the Aurora launched a small unmanned drone that darted directly between the opposing fleets. Using the maneuver Williams had identified, it performed a series of tactical movements that, while simple by human standards, were completely outside the framework of the ancient conflict. Both fleets fell into confusion. Their formations broke as they struggled to respond to a pattern they had never encountered in 800,000 years of war. "They've stopped firing," Okafor reported, amazement in her voice. Elena nodded. "Now they're listening." Lieutenant Rodriguez, reopen the channel. The human solution. Captain Rice stood in the center of the vast neutral chamber, dwarfed by the towering figures of Fleet Admiral Zivak of the Krith and Supreme Commander Thalassor of the Solari. It had taken 3 days of cautious negotiation to arrange this unprecedented meeting between the warring factions, the first direct face-to-face encounter between their leaders in over 50,000 years. The chamber was aboard an ancient space station that predated even their conflict, one of the few relics of their common ancestry that had survived the millennia of war. Elena felt the weight of history pressing down on her as she prepared to address beings whose civilizations were ancient when humans were still learning to make fire. "I thank you both for agreeing to this meeting," she began, her voice steady despite her awareness of the monumental nature of the moment. "For 800,000 years, your peoples have been locked in a conflict that has consumed countless lives and resources. Our struggle is beyond your comprehension, human," rumbled Zivak, his crystalline exoskeleton glinting under the chamber's lights. "It is woven into the very fabric of our existence." Thalassor's membranous wings flexed with agitation. "For once, I agree with the abomination. Your species is but an infant. What could you possibly understand of our eternal conflict?" Elena nodded, acknowledging their perspective. "You're right. Humanity is young compared to your ancient civilizations. Our entire recorded history spans less than 10,000 years. But perhaps that gives us an advantage in this situation." She activated a holographic display that her crew had prepared. It showed a detailed analysis of both species' genetic structures. Over the past 3 days, Dr. Wei, our xenobiologist, has studied the genetic information you both provided. His findings are illuminating. The hologram shifted to show a comparison between Krith and Solari DNA structures, with key segments highlighted. "The fundamental belief driving your conflict is that one of you is the true inheritor of your progenitor species, while the other is a corruption or aberration. This belief has been the foundation of your war for 800 millennia." Elena paused, looking from one alien leader to the other. "Our analysis shows that you're both wrong." The chamber erupted in angry protests from both delegations. Elena waited patiently for the outrage to subside. "Please examine the evidence," she continued, zooming in on specific genetic markers. "You didn't diverge from each other at all. You diverged simultaneously from your common ancestor in what we call adaptive radiation, a natural evolutionary process where a single species gives rise to multiple descendant species adapted to different environments." Dr. Wei stepped forward. "Neither of you is more pure or correct than the other. You're evolutionary siblings, not competitors for the same evolutionary niche. Your progenitor species didn't become one of you while the other branched off. It became both of you, adapted for different environments." The alien leaders stared at the genetic evidence in silence. "This cannot be," Thalassor finally said, but her voice lacked conviction. "We fought for nothing." Zivak's voice was barely audible. Elena shook her head. "Not for nothing. You fought because of a misunderstanding about your own origins, a misunderstanding that, once started, became reinforced by generation after generation of conflict until it was unquestionable truth for both your peoples." Commander Chen presented additional data. "We've also analyzed your battle tactics over the past 3 days. Both sides use nearly identical strategic frameworks, which is why you've been locked in stalemate for so long. Your thinking evolved along parallel lines, making it impossible for either side to gain a decisive advantage." Elena gestured to the holographic display, which now showed the drone maneuver that had briefly confused both fleets. This simple tactical pattern, completely obvious to humans, was outside your conceptual framework because your civilizations have been locked in symmetrical thinking for hundreds of thousands of years. For hours, the discussions continued. The alien leaders asked questions, challenged assumptions, and gradually came to accept the human analysis. 800,000 years of certainty didn't dissolve in a day, but cracks were forming in the foundations of their conflict. "Even if what you say is true," Zivak finally said, "how can we simply end a war that has defined our existence for eons? Our economies, our societies, our very identities are built around this conflict." Elena smiled. "That's where humanity's experience might be valuable. Despite our short history, we've had thousands of wars and found ways to end them. The transition to peace is never easy, but it's always possible. She outlined a framework for gradual de-escalation, cultural exchange, and cooperative scientific ventures. Begin by studying your common ancestor together. There's so much both your peoples could learn if you combined your knowledge instead of using it against each other. As the meeting concluded, both alien leaders stood silently contemplating the path forward. The weight of 800 millennia of hatred and conflict couldn't be shed in a single day, but for the first time, an alternative was visible. Captain Reyes, Thalassor said as the human delegation prepared to depart, "Your species is unexpected. In all our long history, we never imagined that being so young could teach us something so fundamental about ourselves." Zivak's crystalline form shimmered in what Elena had learned was their equivalent of a nod. "We have agreed to a temporary cessation of hostilities to explore the possibilities you have presented." It wasn't peace, not yet, but it was the first pause in hostilities in 800,000 years. 6 weeks later, the Aurora began its journey back to Earth. Behind them, the ancient enemies had established a joint research outpost at the neutral space station. Small teams of scientists from both civilizations were working together to study their common heritage and explore the genetic findings the humans had presented. "Do you think it will last?" Chen asked as they watched the massive fleets recede on their view screen. Elena considered the question. "I don't know. 800,000 years of hatred won't disappear overnight, but they've taken the first steps." "It's remarkable," Dr. Wei observed. "We didn't defeat either side. We didn't force a resolution with superior technology or power. We simply showed them a perspective they couldn't see for themselves." Elena nodded. "That may be humanity's greatest strength as we move into the galactic community. Not our technology or our weapons, but our diversity of thought. Our ability to see patterns others miss and imagine solutions others can't conceive." The Aurora accelerated, its quantum drive propelling it toward home with data that would forever change humanity's understanding of their place in the universe. Behind them, two ancient civilizations began the long, difficult process of learning to see each other not as enemies, but as siblings who had lost their way. In less than 50 minutes of actual negotiation time, 12 humans had accomplished what neither the Krith nor the Solari had managed in 800,000 years. They had found a path to peace, and in doing so, they had announced humanity's arrival on the galactic stage in a way that would echo across the stars for millennia to come.